Today we're going to build a twin eco farm. So first job first, we've got our two tanks. This is the 3/4 inch black poly pipe that joins the two tanks together at the base. So Cam's going to grab that. He's going to push that one into there. This job is a two-handed job, and it'll be a hell of a lot easier if you have two people doing it. Once that's pushed on firmly, Cam will push it into the next one. And that sets your two tanks together. Alright, so it just pushes together like that, and that now joins the two tanks together so the nutrient level rises and falls together. Alright, second job, we're going to put the pump together. So we're going to grab the pump, we're going to push it into that piece of pipe, and just join those together and sit that in the base of the tank. That's it. The solar panel wire connector will go through the alley lid on the outside corner hole. So that's the filling hole, also it's the hole for the wire. And drop that through, and then we're going to poke this pipe up through it. And then we're just going to drop the lid down. Okay, so now we'll position the tank. So there's two PVC legs. One of them is a little bit shorter than the other. Now sometimes these are in pieces, but they'll all be assembled and they'll all be labelled, so you'll know what they're for. So the smaller pipe is for the pump tank. So we'll grab the smaller pipe and we'll thread that over the pipe, over the black water pipe. And we thread it all the way down through. And we just keep going down. May have to lift the lid up. And this is why you need two people to do it. And that's now sitting on top of the tank pump. And that's it. That's ready to go. Yep. Okay. So we'll grab the other leg and we'll just sit that into position for now. Alright. So we've got two fittings. We've got an elbow and a T-piece. The elbow is for the pump tank and the T-piece is for that tank. So now what we'll do is we'll put the planters in position. So we don't need to stack them. We're just going to lift 5 planters and sit them on top. That'll help you hold your pipe together and just hold it a little bit more sturdy. In Cam's side, we've already got 5 planters made up. So I'm going to pass them to Cam and he's going to stack them over that pipe. And we're going to put a plastic bag over the top of that pipe, and that'll stop any rubbish getting down inside the tank. And it just makes it work a little bit more easily and a little bit less cleaning up to do later on. Okay, so Cam can slide those over. So these are 5 that we just made up before, just to make it a bit quicker and easier. Just slide them on, sit them down. Don't worry about the pipe flopping around. It'll sort itself out later. Okay, we've now got our 5 planters in position. The beauty of this system is that you can actually add up another 1 or 2 planters and go a little bit higher, but the standard system is 5 high. Okay, so now that we've got those 2 standing, we've got to get the 13mm elbow and we've got to push that into the black poly pipe that comes up through the pump leg. So it's not too hard. We just get it and we wobble it in. And we push downwards and that goes in nicely. Alright, so that's nearly all the way in. That's got it. Yep, that's good. Okay. So then over the top of that, we get the 20mm PVC elbow We flick that over through the inside, and that's in, making sure it's looking out towards the centre a little bit like that, if you can see. But that's to pick up our black pipe. Okay, so Cam will feed this through to us from his end. And I will attach it to here temporarily or permanently, but no, all good. Okay, so that's in. You can just look inside and you can see that that's gone through. So on our system, we didn't want to have pipes that were sagging and looking down and dowdy like that. So we have a top pipe, and at one end of the top pipe you'll see a piece missing out of the pipe. So in a twin system, that is to go at this end, and that's where you connect the dripper line. On a triple system, there would be one here, one on the second, and there wouldn't be one on the third. So there's never one on the end. So Cam's going to grab hold of that. We're going to separate that, slide it through, through here. Yep. And we want the rebate up my end. I'll feed that right through. And I'm going to face that slot downwards so that it's looking down, because that's where we want it. And we push that in. And then Cam can push it into his T-piece. And that's our top pipe. So later on, if you want to do netting or anything like that, you can. Later on, if you want to extend and add an extra tank, you can just extend from here. So that's the idea of it. All right, so theoretically what we should do now is load these planters with coir. But we're not going to, because we've shown you how to mix coir before. You've seen this one full of coir. And that way we can let you see the watering system working better. And you can go back to some of our other tutorial videos and you'll see how to mix the coir and how to load the pots. So that's not going to be a big problem. Alright, so the system's nearly complete. This is a little bit tricky, and this is where you will need a hand, or certainly I do. So I'm going to give Cam a couple of bits. So the little yellow tool, sometimes it'll be orange, depends which ones they send, is to punch a hole up through this pipe. So I'm going to get Cam to put his hand up on top and hold that, and you just go in the middle and just push it up. And it's a bit awkward for me, but there it goes. That's sitting in there, that's punched the hole. I'm going to let Cam do the next bit. So what we do is we grab one of these little drippers, we sit it in the end there like that to make it easy for him to push it up. And he's going to push it up into that hole and insert it. And it's still a bit of a... That's it. And you'll feel it click in and you'll feel it click home. So it's not hard, it's just a little bit awkward. On the other end, we haven't got the slot because we're going to just punch it right next to the pipe there. So Cam can punch a hole about 1/4 of an inch, 10 mil past the end of that. Yep. And then in the same thing, he'll push that piece up. And this one's a bit easier because he can hold against himself and just push it up. So it's nice and easy. That's it. That was the easy one. All right. So they're there for our dripper lines to come down into the tops of our tanks. So on our dripper lines, we don't use an actual dripper. What we do at the base is we put a T-piece. And that just pushes on to that 4 mil. So I'm going to give that to Cam. I'll take the yellow tool, which he doesn't need anymore, and get Cam to push that T-piece into the middle port. So once Cam's done that, he'll show you. Yep. So it's facing that way. So Cam's got it in the middle with the 2 side pieces either side. Okay, so then we want a length. So get Cam to hold it. And we want that just sitting about 1/2 an inch above the coir. So make it a little bit longer, and we're just going to cut that. We'll always give you a bit extra. Okay. So that can now, Cam will plug that in and push that in. Again, if you have trouble with these, just heat the little bit of tube up with a bit of hot water and that'll be fine. And so Cam, I'm going to get you to put a couple of cable ties. So everything is supplied with this system. So Cam will now just put a cable tie there just to keep the pipe work nice and neat. We won't do them up too tight for the moment, and then we'll put one right down at the bottom. Okay, so now that we've got the dripper line down on this set of planters, Cam will do this side. So same thing again, he'll connect the T-piece to the bottom into the centre part of the T-piece. He'll measure down to where the coir would be, so we're going to say it's about there, and he'll cut that off at about that height. So that'll be fine. Cut that off. I can't make that an exact length, that piece of 4mm pipe, because if you have extra or less planters, and some people do, so that's just something that needs trimming. Okay, so again we're going to cable tie that just for neatness and hold it all together. Yep. And one down the bottom. So this one will be a bit of a funny one when we turn it on because there'll be water spraying around, but I'd like you to see it so that you understand it. So what you can do now, you can just trim the cable ties off, just pull them up nice and tight, trim those off, get some new scissors first and then trim them off. Okay. Alright, so that's ready to go. So if I get Cam to grab the panel, so you're going to notice that this solar panel is larger than the single smart farms. It's almost a third bigger, and it's because we can run 3 or 4 towers off this system if we use the larger panel. So we always use the larger panel. So I'll get Cam to connect that up. And that's ready for us when we want to do a quick test. Let's do that up. Alright, so I'm just going to go and organise some water and I'll be back in a second. Alright, so we've got the tank full now. What we want to do, we've left this end open. We want to flush that to make sure that we haven't got any coir in there. So Cam will just face the panel to the sun. And with a bit of luck, we'll have enough sun. We'll just give that a quick wash. That'll do. Alright, so now Cam will plug that off. And he'll just push that plug in. Again, if you need to, just heat it up a little bit with a cigarette lighter or a glass of hot water. But that's all you need to do. Now that's plugged off, ready to go. That plug can be removed and a joiner can be put in and you can extend on. Alright, so now if we face the panel to the sun, alright, so we're now seeing that we've got watering happening down low, and this is where our surround comes into it. That helps the water spread right around the pot, and we've never had a planter that's been dry. This one, you can see that you've got a large flow of water there at the moment, but once this moves up, that's exactly what it will do for you. So that's just showing you the flow of water that you're expecting. Once it's full of coir, it'll go up and sit there like that. Alright, so that's the completion of the setup of a twin eco farm. And these have got 5 pots on each, so that is 10 planters in all. So that gives you 40 growing points. Now, on the top planters, you can obviously grow more multiples of things, but generally speaking, 1 plant per area. So that gives you 20. You can build it up to 7 if you want to. And there is an electric version of this, although we believe solar is the one that people want. Solar is what we mainly sell. With the nutrients, you can go back to our nutrient section and see how to mix those. But just remember that the rates you've been given are per tank. So if you've got 2 tanks, you multiply it by 2. So that would be 300 mil in both tanks to start with, and 600 mil when you're fully grown. But that'll all be on our site in the section talking about mixing our hydroponic nutrients. Thanks very much. Give us a ring if you've got any problems. Thank you.